This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is Brian Glick from Revival Theater Company of Cedar Rapids, staging your summer show coming up, Victor Victoria.
Yeah.
And the show goes up on June 1st.
That's right.
Okay, and run for 2 weekends?
1 weekend.
1 weekend only.
1 weekend only, June 1 to the 4th. So,
Okay.
4 opportunities.
All right. Well, we want to talk about the challenges that the space gives you, because you're in a fabulous space.
Yes.
Dows Theater at Coe College, but it's a little bit different than what some actors are used to. But let's put a tack in that for a minute, and just talk just a minute about the show. This show continues kind of the fairly recent trend of movies that then move to Broadway and become successful musicals.
That's right. And, and this was done in 1994. So at that point,
this was one of the first.
That's, it was at that point there wasn't the conversation going on, when are we going to write something original instead of transferring movies to the stage. And so but it lends itself to the stage naturally. And so I think it was, and a lot of the same production team who did the movie took it to the stage, including Julie Andrews, who was the star of the show.
Right. So, Julie Andrews and James Garner.
That's right.
Were the stars of the movie in 1994. And you're right, because of the fact that it's a show about performers.
Right.
And also takes place during the, vaudeville. It's not really vaudeville. But
early
during,
1930s, pre-World War II, and so that Art Deco, era.
It certainly lends itself equally as well to being a musical as it does to the movie. What changed between movie and musical? A few more songs?
They eliminated a couple songs and added some new songs in. Brought some new composers at the time on, who are now have written their own shows, and that's about it. Other than the production numbers were more formulated for the stage, and I think the movie's production numbers were a little more subtle, where in the theatrical presentation they're a bit more grand. But other than that, it follows it almost to a T. So not much.
And at the time, in 1994, let alone in the 30s, when it takes place, this was pretty groundbreaking subject matter.
Absolutely.
In its own way.
Absolutely. I mean, the talk today of gender bending and, same-sex relationships, we don't think twice about it, which is great that we've come that far. But at the time of the movie, and then even in the early 90s, the musical, the stage presentation, that was, some might say, edgy, And there's a line at the end where one of the guys says, it's not a crime to love one another, when they're talking about two guys or two girls, and the audience always erupts at that part, because it's it's like, people champion for that. So we talked about that, and it's funny to talk about that to younger cast members in our show, because they don't think twice about it, for those who weren't around at that time. So
Well, and the casting choice of James Garner, too, as spoil, at the risk of of spoiling, but finds that he is falling in love with a woman who he thinks is a man, and having to deal with that.
Yeah, contemplating what these feelings are and owning them, and especially being a Chicago mobster is not a good fit for him. So that creates the stakes are high for him, for sure. Yeah.
So the stakes, as you said, the stakes not quite so high for us today. Doing this. So was it a little bit of a challenge, kind of helping the cast create that tension?
Not really. I think once we figured out that this is the presentation of the piece, this is how it's written, we just dive into living in the moment of how it's presented and let it land as it falls, and for the audience to interpret how they feel about it, in their own on their own terms. So once we had that discussion with the cast about what this meant then and what it means now, I think it all sort of naturally fell in place for everybody. So
who's in the cast?
We have a lot of new people in the show, but familiar names are going to be Nina Swanson, who's a veteran of the theater community, and her last show with us, and her first show with us as a company, was Grey Gardens. And then we've got Joe Wietrick, who has been in several shows with us and also been a part of the theater scene for years. And then we've got Larry Newman, who is new to us from the Iowa City area, and he has been a lovely addition to the cast. And then we have Jen Ford, who's new to us under the roof of Revival. And then we've got just an array of new singer-dancers and supporting cast members. This is probably the first show in a long time where we have a large majority of newcomers to
nice.
Revival. So that's a lot of fun for us to work with some new blood.
Talking with Brian Glick from Revival Theater Company about Victor Victoria, which goes up and takes place the weekend of June 1st. Mm-hmm. And you're in Dows Theater on the co-campus.
Yes.
And we talked at the top of the interview about how that presents a few challenges because it's a great space, but it's in the round.
Yes. So it can be in the round. We do it almost in the round. We eliminate 2 seating units, but you have audience almost all around you. And so we talk about the challenges. We're used to a proscenium space, which is, what we're used to when you go to the Paramount or, everything's left to right. So,
well, and an actor is always taught not to turn their back to the audience. And here in this space, your back is always to somebody.
Yes, exactly. Audience. So we say break all the rules. You're going to have to get used to that. And we deal with that every rehearsal. Turn your back here. And it's like, are you sure? I don't know. It's like, yes, make those choices. So even though it can be a challenge for those who are new to the space and even those who have worked in it multiple times, it's exciting to break those rules because anything's game. And it keeps it interesting for the audience as well. You don't know where things are going to be happening or when. And so everything is almost a playing space.
It's almost, for a space its size, it's pretty good size.
It is.
But it's a very intimate space because of
Absolutely. This. So that's a great combination, and it's one of my favorite places to work in. And, we always say automatically, no matter what show you do in that space, it's automatically going to be different in terms of approach because of the space. So audiences, can anticipate something being presented in a different format that they may be used to. So it's exciting.
Right now, what do you think is your favorite moment in the show?
Wow. I love the moments where, the production numbers are fun. And I tell you what's fun about this show and the production numbers are we have audience members who can sit at cabaret tables on the set. So when they're doing these big, grand numbers, they're literally dancing right next to somebody.
They're in the show. The audience is in the show.
They are part of the show. And that's going to be exciting and probably really scary for someone sitting on the set. But I think people are up for that excitement. And so I like those moments. I'm anticipating what those might be. And, of course, anytime Nina's performing on stage, she captivates, the moment. And it's really beautiful. So, I never have a favorite moment. It's all great.
I know,
but
it's
those
like
are always
a favorite kid.
I know, exactly. But those are always the perks of the piece.
The show is Victor Victoria and runs June 1st through the 4th.
That's right.
At Dows Theater on the co-campus. And if people want tickets, how do they get them?
So they can go to artsiowa.com, which is the Orchestra Iowa box office. Or they can go to the box office in person, which is next to the Paramount. Or revivaltheatercompany.com, where they can get tickets and find out more about the show and anything else Revival.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming in, Brian. Sounds like a blast.
Yeah,
good luck with it.
Great to be back.